Hey guys, Bryson Ramos, and this Sunday, October 9th, the Miami Dolphins are traveling to MetLife to face the New York Jets, a part of their Week 5 matchup. Dolphins 3-1, New York Jets 2-2, and this is a big opportunity for the Dolphins, especially with the circumstances that they're dealing with Tua being out. The biggest thing is being able to get a win here so far, stay undefeated in the AFC East. That would be a huge leg up for the Miami Dolphins. You know, being 3-0, especially early on, first 5 games, you have 3 AFC East matchups, 3 divisional matchups. Just tough, but could be very beneficial down the line for the Miami Dolphins. With that being said, let's go into ESPN's matchup predictor. Dolphins are favored at 55.7%, and the New York Jets are favored at 43.8%, with a tie at 0.6%. And then on top of that, the spread is -3.5 for the Miami Dolphins, and the money line is in favor of the Dolphins, 170. And then on top of that, money line plus 143. Over under set at 45. And then we'll talk about some injuries right now, and then we'll get into keys to victory. So to start it off with injuries, everyone who I'm about to list is questionable, and then I will specify if they're out. But for the questionable guys, we have Teron Armstead, offensive tackle, for toe injury that he's been dealing with since the start of the season. Xavier Howard, groin injury, same thing, been dealing with from the beginning of the season. We have Savon Ahmed, back injury, that one's a new one. Jalen Waddle, groin, and Tyreek Hill, quad. These are kind of new, but not necessarily new. They're new to the injury report, but to start off the season, Tyreek Hill had cramps in that Baltimore game, and then Jalen Waddle has been dealing with this groin injury since the beginning of training camp. We also have Robert Jones, guard, and Keon Cross and cornerback. Those guys are both listed as questionable, but nothing specific on their injuries. Now, when it comes to players who are confirmed out, we have Keelan Carter, tight end, out with a concussion. Same thing with Tua. He has a concussion as well, and he's not traveling with the team for the game. And Clayton Feldrum is an undisclosed injury, but he's designated to return from IR. And then also Byron Jones is off of the PUP, but he's still listed as out with his ankle injury. That's about it. Everyone else who's been out has been out pretty much from the beginning of the season. Now for the New York Jets, we have Marcel Harris is questionable with undisclosed injury. And then everyone else I'm about to list is out. We have Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. He has a knee injury. Quincy Williams, linebacker, has an ankle injury. Dwayne Brown has a shoulder injury. Vinny Curry is on injured reserve. Same thing with George Fant, Nick Bowden, Mekhi Becton. And then Greg Sinnott is out with an undisclosed injury, batsman, from the beginning of training camp. So the Jets aren't as banged up as the Miami Dolphins are in terms of official injuries. But right now the Dolphins, I think, more so are dealing with probably one of the bigger setbacks between the two of the teams. The Jets just got their starting quarterback and Zach Wilson back last week, and kind of might have been huge because they had a comeback win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Meanwhile, the Dolphins lose their starting quarterback for pretty much the second half of the game on Thursday, and then on top of that, you just down the line, uncertain when he may return or if he ever will return, which is a story for another day, probably an entirely different video. But yeah, that is the situation the Dolphins are facing right now. As it goes, I believe the Dolphins do have the upper hand in this game. I think they are the better overall team, but the New York Jets do pose a threat. They've been able to, win a few games here and there and kind of prove their worth in the NFL. When a lot of people probably thought they would have started 0-4 facing just the AFC North straight up, but they're 2-2, which is a good spot for them to be in. A lot of people would have thought, like I said, 0-4, possibly 1-3, but they've surprised a few people, getting big wins against the Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers, both comeback wins. So kudos to them. Meanwhile, Dolphins started off hot 3-0, and then had that unfortunate loss in Cincinnati last week. So let's go over some of the team stats so far from both teams. Points per game, Dolphins are averaging more, 24 points, 24.5 to the Jets, 19. Points allowed, Dolphins are allowing 22.8. Meanwhile, Jets are allowing 25.3. Total yards, just about the same in terms of almost every aspect of the defense, the yards in offense. Dolphins averaging 376, while the Jets are averaging 380. Dolphins are averaging 307 through the passing game. Jets are averaging 293. Rushing yards, 69.3, meanwhile the Jets have 87.5. Defensively, Dolphins defense is allowing way more yards, 414 to the Jets 339. Pass yards, Dolphins 310, Jets 230. And then rush yards allowed, Dolphins allowing 103, meanwhile the Jets are allowing 108. So those are some of the things that you can kind of take away from both of these teams pretty much through the quarter of the season. I know the season is all kind of messed up now with adding that 17th game, but pretty much you can consider this a quarter of the season. If not, the first quarter of this game will be the official quarter of the season for both of these teams. Now, with that being said, let's talk about some keys to victory. So, keys for the Dolphins, you obviously have Teddy Bridgewater starting. So, first and foremost, protect Teddy. In that Bengals game, the defensive line was all over both Dolphin quarterbacks, and Teddy was able to evade some big-time sacks, and even though he might have not made a big play off of it, he did avoid a sack and was able to get the ball out. So some of those things is protect Teddy, so you can allow him to, throw the ball down the field. Don't want a simple offense. Want to kind of keep things in stride with how they're going with Tua. Obviously, switch it around that it would be more beneficial to Teddy, but just, embrace him. This is going to be the guy moving forward until we know what is completely going on with Tua, and until further notice, Teddy's the guy. So just surround them, make them feel, very comfortable, and help this offense lead us to victory. Because, like I said in probably the last video, is this entire season hinges on the Dolphins' offense. The defense will be fine. I know they're allowing a lot of yards, but they are not allowing the teams to score, so that's a huge factor. Now, on the opposite end, the Dolphins' offense was looking pretty good through the first 4 games. I think the game in Cincinnati, kind of just throw that one away and forget about it. But every other game, scoring over 20 points each game, so that's very good for the Dolphins' offense. But, yeah, surround Teddy with, welcoming arms, and on top of that, just protect him. Second off, run the ball. Run the ball. Running game is very beneficial to a passing game, so that's something that the Dolphins offense needs to continue to try to improve on, is just developing this running game. Every game you see it kind of getting better and better and better. Now I want to see this team finally break 100 yards, if not have a player in specific break 100 yards, whether it's Chase Edmonds or Raheem Mostert, whoever is leading the charge on the running game. Let them take over the game. That would be amazing for this Dolphins offense. Secondly, in terms of defense, is apply pressure on Zach Wilson. Bring him to the ground as much as possible. Do not let the Jets run some gimmick plays that they tend to do, specifically on the Dolphins. But last week they had a gimmick play where Zach Wilson ended up catching a touchdown in the end zone, which is pretty similar to something that they've done to us in the past, specifically I believe it was last year in Miami. But either way, just get to Zach Wilson. Do not let him be the main catalyst for this Jets team. Let it be Breece Hall or Michael Carter, whoever you want in the backfield, but just do not let it be Zach Wilson. And then on top of that, just shut him down. Like I mentioned, this team is very good at bending but not breaking. So just, if we can stick to that, that's a way that this Dolphins defense could help the offense out, because I think that's something that is going to be a main factor in this game, is whether or not our defense can, propel us to win. I want to see turnovers. I want to see, just attacking the ball. Dolphins have been there pretty much every game, almost forcing a turnover in every game. And, this is what's proved to show how this Dolphin team wins games. So, that being said, it's pretty much all I have. Dealing with a little bit of a cold, and I'm not going to be able to see the end of the game. I think my flight just changed, but I'm not in town, obviously, if you can't tell by the background. But yeah, status of me watching the game, I'm pretty sure I can watch all the way up almost into the third quarter, and then I'll be on a flight. So post-game video will come when I'm back home in Miami. Nothing on the go, unfortunately, so But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and enjoy the background. It's very beautiful out here. So hopefully we can get it finished up. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.